When you think about the Knicks' top trade assets, a couple of names come to mind. Evan Fournier, Emmanuel Quickley, maybe Quentin Grimes, maybe even to an extent Isaiah Hartenstein. But what if there's another name the Knicks should consider? What if a Knick player that was recently signed by New York is the best trade asset for the Knicks? Well, according to Bleacher Report, Donte DiVincenzo might be the best trade asset for the New York Knicks to utilize to get that star player that they want. We're going to break down this report and so much more today. So be sure you're subscribed to the channel and have notifications turned on so you don't miss a second of the new content. And now, let's get started. Donte DiVincenzo might be the Knicks' best trade asset, at least according to Bleacher Report. Now listen, don't get me wrong. At Bleacher Report, there are a lot of great journalists, a lot of great writers. They actually create a lot of good articles on a daily basis. But sometimes, unfortunately, oftentimes, there are some articles that just leave me scratching my head, that just make no sense, or that I read them and I think there is no shot this is going to happen. And today, we have one of those articles. Recently, Bleacher Report was talking about the New York Knicks and how they could acquire that star that they've been looking for. And because of that, that led them to a speculation route indicating that potentially the Knicks could utilize Donte DiVincenzo, picks, and other players to get that star or superstar player that they've been hoping and waiting for. So as you can see here, Bleacher Report gave us the following article, and it states, can the Knicks flip Donte DiVincenzo and picks for a star? Some are free agents who could be traded after restrictions lift today, December 15th. The Knicks are looking for star power. And according to Zach Buckley of Bleacher Report, the New York Knicks may have an eye on adding star power to join Jalen Brunson, Julius Randle, and RJ Barrett. Donte DiVincenzo, according to Buckley, has been solid for the New York Knicks, primarily in a 20-minute per game bench role. In July, the guard left the Golden State Warriors to sign with the New York Knicks on a 4-year, $46.9 million contract. Combined with Evan Fournier's movable contract, and possibly Emmanuel Quickley, if the team doesn't want to reinvest at the price he wants in July, the Knicks have enough draft assets to make a credible run if a big name becomes available before the trade deadline. Buckley also lists Ryan Arcidiacono as another trade asset the New York Knicks could use in a potential deal. From a value perspective, I guess I can understand it. I guess I can understand why DiVincenzo, Fournier, maybe Emmanuel Quickley, and some picks is sometimes an idea some people might have for the New York Knicks to use to get that star that they want. But honestly, this doesn't make any sense at all to me for multiple reasons. The first reason is they just benched Quentin Grimes to start Donte DiVincenzo. They just started him. So number one, that doesn't make sense at all. Then, he's a Nova boy. He's part of that Nova core with Jalen Brunson, Josh Hart, shout out to Ryan Arcidiacono as well too. So he's part of that core group. That gives him a lot of strength within the Knicks organization, especially because you know he's going to be backed by Jalen Brunson, arguably the Knicks' best player on the roster right now. So he has ties and connections there. As we just heard from Bleacher Report, he signed a 4-year contract with the New York Knicks. He was not signed to be a short-term ad. He was signed to be a long-term addition for this team, to help this team in the playoffs. The Knicks haven't even made the playoffs yet to see what Donte DiVincenzo's impact is going to be. So for that reason and all the other reasons I just stated, the Knicks are likely not going to make a move at the trade deadline to trade Donte DiVincenzo and other pieces for another player. I don't think even if a star player was on the table that the Knicks would trade Donte DiVincenzo, because that's how important to the team I think he is, and that's how important to Jalen Brunson I think he is. So for all of those reasons, Donte DiVincenzo, I'm sorry Bleacher Report, he is not going to be a primary trade asset for the New York Knicks to use this season to get that star or superstar player. And definitely not to get that role player as well too. I don't think that happens. If you even put on a table Emmanuel Quickley, Donte DiVincenzo, and Evan Fournier with a couple of picks, what star does that get you? Are the Cavaliers going to jump at the opportunity to take that package so that Knicks can get Donovan Mitchell? Is that what's going to happen? Are the Raptors going to forget the lawsuit, take that package, and give the Knicks OG Anunoby? What team is going to accept that package for a star or superstar? Don't worry, I'll wait. You're not going to find the name because any team you give that offer to is going to want to modify it, going to want to adjust it, want to make sure it's a little bit different or more so that way they can get more assets from the Knicks versus this particular package for one of their star players. Because let's get it right, whenever the Knicks are involved in a trade, if the trade was fair, the Knicks tax on that trade is always going to be calculated, and the Knicks are going to have to give up just a little bit more assets in order to get that player. I wish that wasn't the case, trust me. But with each and every single trade I've seen throw the New York Knicks way over the last few years, that seems to always be the case. So then it begs the question, what are the real trade assets for the Knicks? What names are the real names the New York Knicks could use this trade deadline to try to get that role player or star player? Well, for me, the three names that always come to mind are going to be Emmanuel Quickley, Evan Fournier, and Quentin Grimes. To an extent, you might be able to say Isaiah Hartenstein because he's on a contract year, number one. And number two, if the Knicks think they're not going to be able to retain him or pay him this offseason, then you might as well go ahead and package him up with a couple of other players to get another star or a significant role player on this team so that way the Knicks can be taken even more seriously in the East. So that's something I think the Knicks are going to consider. But Donte DiVincenzo will not be on the table. Josh Hart will not be on the table. Jalen Brunson, not on the table. Randall, not on the table. RJ Barrett, not on the table. The trades that we're talking about, those legit superstar trades, they're not going to happen at the trade deadline. They're going to happen this offseason. The only way a star trade happens at the trade deadline is for one of these teams around the league with a star that's been linked to the Knicks to have a disastrous month of December, to spiral out of control, lose uncontrollably, for a star player to either ask out or for that franchise to say, it's not working, let's go ahead and pull the plug, hit reset, start this rebuild, and see what teams around the league are going to give us for our star players. And the Knicks are going to be a team that's always going to be linked, regardless of who the star is, because of who the Knicks are, because of their market, because of the amount of assets and young players they have. Any star or superstar player or significant role player that's on the market, they're automatically going to be linked to the Knicks, especially if they're CAA. If they're clutch, okay, maybe not. But if they're CAA or represented by another agency, you can bet with confidence that the Knicks are going to be in the mix and involved trying to get that player. But I think as of right now, we don't need to worry about the Knicks going after that star player. As a video that we just released yesterday indicated from Adrian Wojnarowski, that move from the Knicks is going to happen this offseason. The move that they're going to make this season is likely going to be for that role player. So the Knicks are going to utilize a lot of the players that Bleacher Report stated here, except Donte DiVincenzo. The players that are absolutely going to be on the table for the New York Knicks to potentially trade at the trade deadline will likely be Emmanuel Quickley, Evan Fournier, and Quentin Grimes. I don't think another player is going to be available unless there is a star player available via this trade deadline. And if that's the case, maybe the Knicks make Isaiah Hartenstein available, Miles McBride available, and some of these other key players available for the team. That, I think, is the only way you'll see other players added to that list. Other than that, if that player is not there, then any role player is likely going to have to be moved with a couple of protected picks from the New York Knicks, likely first-round protected picks, and then Evan Fournier. And if that doesn't get it done, maybe they'll add Grimes. Maybe they'll add Quickley. But they're going to definitely take a slow and safe approach to it. First Evan Fournier, then Fournier and maybe a protected pick, and then maybe Fournier protected picks and another young player, depending on who that team is and who that team is requesting. A lot of different moves going on here and a lot of reports going out there. But one report that we had to look at was this Bleacher Report one. Because honestly, out of all the reports that I've read, all the things that I've seen, I think I can say with some confidence that Donte DiVincenzo, given everything that we've stated earlier about him, given his current role on this Knicks team, and the relationships and connections he has with this team at this point in time, I think it's an automatic that he is safe and he's not going to be traded this trade deadline. And I get what Bleacher Report is trying to do here, what they're trying to say, especially given the fact that today, anybody who signed the contract this summer is and potentially can be available to be traded this trade deadline. I understand that. And that's the main reason that they made this article. But even so, it's not likely and it's not realistic. Not in my opinion. But what about you guys? What do you think about this Bleacher Report article suggesting that the Knicks could use Donte DiVincenzo, Fournier, Emmanuel Quickley, and picks to either get that star or a legitimate role player that they need on this team? Let me know in the comments below, guys, because honestly, I would love to hear from you. But that's going to do it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, go ahead and smash that like button, leave a comment below, and of course, guys, please subscribe to the channel. Until next time, Knick fans. Peace.